Many thanks for staying with us. The United Nations 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development Goals might be far from being achieved in Nigeria if the obstacles that stop youths from playing an active role in development and building peace are not tackled effectively. This was revealed by the Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator of the United Nations in Nigeria, Mr. Edward Kalon, at an event to commemorate the 2017 International Youth Day in Lagos.
The theme of this year's International Youth Day, Youth Building Peace, could be said to be timely considering youth restiveness evident across the country. The devastation in the northeast due to insurgency and the call for secession in the southeast and Niger Delta are some of the indicators of restiveness in Nigeria. Sadly, the youth are more involved.
Itching to run to catch a flight.
To realize the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, the UN Resident Coordinator wants a change from the normative understanding of youth from perpetrators or victims of violence and conflict to focusing on positive contributions that they can play in preventing conflict and building peace.
The institutional frameworks for empowering youths in Nigeria exist and provide multiple avenues to unlock the peace-building potentials harnessed by this demographic group. Our challenge is implementing these policy frameworks and living up to the challenges and working to address the obstacles. To unlock this demographic dividend, we must empower our youths to play constructive, unifying and innovative roles and fully include them in the country's development process.
The event provides the opportunity for participants and resource persons to discuss issues around young people and the part they can play in cultivating sustainable peace.
There are a lot of, discussions going on the internet now. As young people, instead of trying to douse the tension, we even, escalate it even with our words, with our actions.
You never know what your tweet or your message is saying to encourage somebody. So that's the whole idea of use social media responsibly and also build positive networks on social media.
Agenda 2030 recognizes that the challenges to peace and security are rooted in development deficits, and making progress on the Sustainable Development Goals is the path towards developing sustainable peace. The organizers of the event hope that the participants will be open to new opportunities and fresh perspectives to ideals of peace.
With the rising food prices in Nigeria, farmers in Benue State are now reaping well from increased crop production, processing and marketing under the State Agricultural Value Chain Development Program. A farmer in Guma Local Council tells Channels Television that before the value chain program, grains like rice, maize and soybeans were underpriced, but the introduction of the Unified Standard Weight Measure is putting more money in their pockets.
In 2015, the Benue State government, in partnership with the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, began the Value Chain Development Program to empower local farmers. The program focuses on linking local farmers with off-taker large-scale farmers who provide them with technical skills and farm practices to grow more rice and cassava. The opening up of rural roads, processing facilities and the Unified Standard Measure to protect farmers is now increasing farmers' profits.
They used to cheat us. The kind of bag we used to put our products in was it was kind of a cheating to us. Before, a bag of rice was used to sold in 30-something kg, but now it's only 50 kg. We are very proud of the governor.
We are not going to be shy of improving the functioning of the value chains, and that is to link the farmers to the off-takers and link them also effectively to service providers like those who prepare their land, the tractor operators, and also to input providers. Yeah.
At the official presentation of the Unified Standard Weight Measure at the new ultra-modern market, Makurdi, Benue State, the Commissioner for Trade and Investment gives details of the packaging policy.
We have 28 inches by 47 inches for grains such as rice, soya beans, melon, sorghum, millet, yam chips. A demonstration of the 28 by 47 inches is there.
While flagging of the Unified Standard Measure, Governor Samuel Otom warns against manipulating the packaging process.
What we have simply done here is to have the correct weight and measure equipment that can give our farmers value and can also give those who are going to buy value for their money. It's as simple as that.
With increased farming and marketing activities of agro-allied products, the new ultra-modern market, with about 1,000 lock-up shops, may soon become the new trading hub in Benue State.
Thank you so much.
Let's find out what's happening in the world of business with Anne Nwawudu.
Thanks a lot, Melinda. And yes, we begin with the release of the inflation report for the month of July by the Bureau of Statistics. But economic analysts ahead of that release, as FSDH research, are already predicting a rate drop of 16.10% to 15.96%. The research advisory firm attributes this expected fall to downward movement in some categories of food and non-food items, higher cost of water, housing, electricity, and gas. In the meantime, the National Bureau of Statistics is expected to release the official inflation data next week, Wednesday, and that's August the 16th. The Nigeria Securities and Exchange Commission's Capital Markets Committee will begin its second meeting for the year on Tuesday, August the 15th, right here in Lagos. In the two-day meeting, it will include an interactive session with journalists and the launch of the statistical bulletin of the Commission. The Capital Market Committee is also expected to consider reports from other subcommittees like commodity ecosystem, new listing, financial literacy, liquidity enhancement, among other issues. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, the NNPC, says that a group of Chinese banks are ready to finance oil and gas projects in Nigeria. The NNPC Group Managing Director, Mr. Maikanti Baru, said this when a delegation of the Nigerian Gas Association paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja. Mr. Baru also revealed that the NNPC has unveiled plans to expand gas generation and distribution in Nigeria to help support the federal government's plan of increasing power generation. The president of Nigerian Gas Association, Mr. Dada Thomas, on his part, commended the NNPC's new alternative funding of $1.7 billion, which was recently signed with Shell and Chevron. And let's see how oil markets fared this week. Oil prices ended the week slightly up as the market weighed lower U.S. crude stocks, Nigeria's instability, and strong global demand. U.S. crude inventories fell 6.5 million barrels last week, but just yesterday, hundreds of aggrieved persons stormed a crude oil facility and a gas plant owned by Royal Dutch Shell in the Niger Delta region, demanding jobs and infrastructure development. The country's oil export, scheduled to hit a 17-month high this month, fell back under 2 million barrels per day after Shell declared force majeure on Bonny Light. Brent crude closed at the week at $52.10 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude ended at $48.82 a barrel. And that's the end of Business News this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawudu. It's back to you, Melinda.
Many thanks, Anne. Sterling Bank PLC has begun cleaning exercises in 10 states across the country under a Sterling Environmental Makeover Program. Organized in partnership with other corporate bodies and waste management agencies in some parts of the state, the Lagos edition had staff members led by the bank's managing director cleaning up the computer village in Ikeja. The bank says this is part of its responsibility of ensuring that the environment is healthy for all.
The healthier the environment, the healthier the nation and the people. For Sterling Bank, driving the message on the environment project home through what it calls Sterling Environmental Makeover is why members of staff and top officials of the bank are gathered here in Ikeja, Lagos. First, there is an exercise session to prepare for the work ahead. Exercise over, it's time to take to the streets of the computer village, which is the area for cleaning, and the managing director of the bank takes the lead alongside the Lagos State Commissioner for the Environment as they sweep, pick and pack waste.
What this entails is supplying uniform to all those who clean the streets, right? Partnering with the agencies that are responsible for the cleaning and making sure that we also clean at least once in a year. It is symbolic, but it creates awareness and it brings more converts to the environment project.
Clearing of drains is also part of the environmental makeover, a gesture that the Lagos State official lauds.
This is part of their CSR to help to clean up Ikeja area, the computer village precisely, and to also show our people how the environment should be and the kind of respect they should have for the environment.
Ensuring that the environment remains clean is a sport in the life of Nigerians that the bank aims to keep touching.
The pain of the environment is a cause that we have taken on. And so in connecting with people who associate with the love for the environment, we know that it will endear us a lot more to our target audience.
The Sterling Environmental Makeover, launched 8 years ago, is Sterling Bank's corporate social responsibility initiative, which seeks to promote practices that contribute to a cleaner environment on a long-term basis.
At least 24 people have been allegedly killed by police officers in various parts of Kenya as clashes erupted in slum counties following President Uhuru Kenyatta's victory at the polls. But the opposition leaders are not buying that result, and they have accused the government of state terror.
Moments after Kenya's Election Commission announced the incumbent president, Uhuru Kenyatta, as winner of the 2017 presidential election, protests erupted in Kisumu City, the opposition candidate's stronghold, and also in the Nairobi slums of Matari, Kibera and Kawangari. Opposition candidate Raila Odinga's supporters took to the streets, burning tires and unlighting market stalls, protesting against what they call a stolen mandate.
We are saying no retreat, no surrender, because we cannot have a government that each and every time we go for election, it is stolen.
A delegation of Kenyan NASA opposition party officials are pushed back by police presence as they arrive in Kibera, Nairobi, to meet with their supporters. Police throw tear gas canisters at their vehicles to deter them. Interior Minister Fred Matiang'i tries to calm frayed nerves, insisting that the unrest is localized and hijacked by criminal elements rather than legitimate political jobbers.
The security forces have reported that they have responded appropriately and they have restored normalcy in most of these parts.
President Kenyatta has pledged to unite the country and implement development projects that will improve the living standards of citizens.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Catalan giants Barcelona begin life without Neymar in the Spanish Super Cup as they lock horns with rivals Real Madrid. That's on Sports News. Stay with us.